Good evening everyone and thanks for joining us on a Sunday. And today's lecture is called Wearing Skeletons on the Outside and Tasting with Their Feet, Insects and Their Impact on Humanity, delivered by Divya Uma from APU. To introduce her, before joining Azim Premji University, she was a postdoc fellow at IISER Trivandrum, examining hunting and web building behavior of social spiders and personalities in spiders. Prior to this, she did another postdoc at the University of Maryland, USA, looking at the response of crayfish towards predatory cues and also exploring non-invasive methods of imaging neuroanatomical structures of crayfish. She obtained her doctoral degree from Georgetown University, USA, where she looked at predator-prey interactions between wasps and spiders. And at APU, her recent works include investigating mimicry in ant-mimicking spiders, ecology of floral color changing plants and their pollinators, spatial temporal dynamics of web architecture in social spiders. And also she survives Bengaluru by taking quick getaways to quieter forested areas. And with that, I welcome Divya to deliver the lecture.
Hi, good evening everybody, and thanks for coming on a Sunday evening. And bearing Bangalore traffic, so those two are quite heroic tasks. All right, so I'll keep it fairly informal. My name is Divya. I grew up in Shimoga, and I don't like Bangalore because of the traffic, but there's a lot of interesting things, a lot of interesting people in Bangalore, and of course I'm totally, I'm blown away by the beauty of insects or spiders or life in general, and more so because I'm teaching now and I'm learning a lot of new things. So I hope whatever I read a little bit, I'm trying to convey that interest or excitement, and I hope I can do some justice to it. So today I thought I'll talk about 4 different parts very quickly. One is how do we all see insects? So when I say insects, I'll also combine spiders because they're all kind of clubbed into one bin, small things, small brown things which walk very fast or fly very fast. That's the general opinion. How do entomologists are people who study insects. So how do they look at insects? And why should we care? We should all know about that. And then some inspirations, people have got inspired by insects and they've developed some products. So just a brief example of that. This is a poem by an American poet called Ogden Nash. So he said, God in his wisdom made the fly and then forgot to tell us why. So this is the attitude of most of us. Yeah, they're there, insects are there, and as long as they don't come into our house, we are okay with it. Maybe we'll tolerate them. But if the moment they are in our house, then we have a problem. It's not that I am very tolerant to cockroaches or mosquitoes. I also kill them. So, or maybe I'll take a broom and shoo them away. But this is how most of us look at insects. Or if you have small kids, this is how we view insects. We either have like baby toys or stickers. Many of us would have had like some colorful stickers on our school books or, buy these kinds of things. And as long as they're made to look really cute with big eyes and, maybe a smiley face and a little bit, they're all kind of made to look cute, right? That's one thing. Or there are a lot of insect-related movies where mostly it is either ants or bees, right? Either they're like, the ant will become really big and, I don't know, these are old movies. So they will try to take over the world, or they'll try to bully somebody else, or those kinds of things. Or Bug's Life is, many people in the audience might know some of these or heard of these movies. But so in a lot of popular movies, popular media, insects are depicted in a way either to kind of say that they're dangerous or they have extraordinary powers where they can take over certain things. If you look at spiders, these are some of the movies starting from 1955 to, of course, Spider-Man is ever popular. Again, it is, there is a sense of, the way it is depicted, it makes you feel scared of these things, right? Spider-Man, of course, hero and Batman, Spider-Man are all like, okay, everybody wants to kind of see that, and spiders are popularized. Maybe little bit of spiders are popularized through this because Spider-Man kind of shoots the silk from here and goes from one place to another place. But what is wrong with this movie? Can anybody tell me? What's wrong with Spider-Man shooting the silk from here? You want to tell? Perfect. Okay, he doesn't have 8 legs. Correct. That is correct. Anything else? Huh? No, spider silk comes from here in the movie, but it actually comes from the abdomen, tip of the abdomen. Not through the mouth, but tip of the abdomen. So if the movie makers had depicted that then it wouldn't have been very popular at all, right? So it is scientifically inaccurate, but of course the movie sold like hotcakes. So spider have what is known as spinnerets. So they have glands through which spider silk comes out, and it's almost like they comb it. They kind of pull it out of their abdomen. It's liquid. The silk is liquid in form when they are inside the abdomen, and then once it hits air, it becomes solidified, and then it kind of, you can make a lot of things out of it. Okay, so that's how all of us view insects and spiders. Now this is questions to the youngest people in the audience. Or okay, anybody else in the audience except Shyamal. Everybody else can attempt. So where are the insects here? No? No insects? Maybe this? Spiders? Maybe, no? All are insect except crab? Okay, this is a crab. This is a pill bug, like a, what's the common name? Pill bug. I don't know what they say here. And this is a spider, probably a mite. So what are these? Except crab, everybody are insects? No? Arthropods? Let's forget the jargon. So how many legs should insects have? So they have 6 legs. So if you count the legs of, there are many legs here, 10 legs here, 8 legs here. These also have 8 legs, I think. 8 legs. Plenty of legs. These also, how many legs these have? Huh? How many legs these have? More than 6, no? So, okay, none of these are insects. None of these, whatever it's shown, are insects. So, insects, if you want to kind of know, okay, how can we tell things from, the previous things in the previous slide from insects? This is I just like the plate. It's an old representation, but The insects have 6 legs. Insects also have either 2 or 4 wings. So most insects can fly. Most insects have what is known as antenna through which they can smell. And so these are antenna, right? We will explore what are some of the characteristics of insects. How do you identify insects and what do they do? Insects have almost like an armor. So you can imagine that character there. So insects have their skeleton outside. So that's why I named my talk like that. So they have we all have our skeleton inside our body, right? So because you can think about it like an armor which insect has, and every time insect grows, it has to kind of break open that armor and grow. So this is it's what is known as exoskeleton. Exo is outside and skeleton. So it has it's like a protective cover which it has to kind of break open and grow. So from small insect, once it becomes bigger and bigger, it has to break open that armor, and then this is a grasshopper, and this is the molt of the grasshopper through which the grasshopper is coming out. Right? So there are different kinds of insects. I don't want to bore you with all kinds of different varieties and how these things are formed, but basically all insects have skeletons on the outside. But what is really cool is, you all know about this, but we all know now that okay, caterpillars turn into butterflies or moths or a lot of other things, but earlier scientists didn't know, or people didn't know. They thought that this and this are 2 different species. In fact, when I was in Shimoga, I was looking at a caterpillar, and of course, if you don't know, if you haven't read about it, or if you don't know, naturally they are so different looking. So naturally, people will tend to think that there are 2 different varieties or 2 different species, right? So there's nothing wrong in it. So caterpillars, what do they eat? Leaves. What do butterflies eat? Nectar. So everybody knows. Okay, how do they eat? How do they eat leaves? How do caterpillars eat leaves? They chew on it, right? They have a chewing mouth part. How do butterflies eat? So butterflies have a tongue which is here. It's like a straw where they can suck the nectar. So they keep it rolled up like a hose pipe. They usually keep it rolled up, and when they find flower, they will uncurl it and then take nectar from it. Okay, caterpillars can't fly, butterflies can fly. Caterpillars have very tiny eyes, whereas butterflies have fairly dominant, good eyesight. So there are a lot of differences like this between a caterpillar and a butterfly or a moth. And you would imagine, okay, let's take that human beings, when we are tiny, we look like regular humans. It's not like we completely change our lives as we grow up. But what I'm trying to say is, in this, insects which metamorphosize, they look very different when they are babies, when they are young ones, and they become, as adults, they look completely different. But they have to change a lot of their machinery to become adults. They have to change their mouth part, they have to develop wings, they have to, their eyesight become much more, I mean, I shouldn't say caterpillars have bad eyesight, it's fairly, they have good eyesight as well, but what I'm saying is, from a leaf chewing caterpillar, it becomes a nectar feeding flying butterfly. And the changes which happens, is quite drastic. So that's something which is very fascinating with insects. Not all insects do this. Cockroaches, if you've seen, there are tiny cockroaches and then they grow up to become bigger cockroaches. They don't do this kind of a drastic metamorphosis. Another common thing which you would have seen is dragonflies. You all have seen dragonflies flying around, but where are the dragonfly babies? They are in water. They are in water and they become adults and they are in the air. So that's even more drastic. From a water living animal, it's flying around. So think about what kind of changes which happens in the body, and I'm keeping this very general because of wide interest levels, but if somebody is interested, we can later on you can think about what kind of neural changes or changes which happens just before the molt. The caterpillar will already have all the information or the blueprint to become a butterfly. So that is contained in the caterpillar, but we can talk a little bit more later. Okay, this is again a male moth. This is a picture of a moth, and this is an antenna. It looks really cool, right? This is not all moths have these kinds of antenna, but I have picked one which is very nice looking, and of course. So can anybody think about what's the function?
Sense food or danger.
Something it's sensing, right? It's definitely antenna is there for sensing some kind of smell. Either it can go towards food or maybe danger, or it can also be attracted to a female smell. So females will release what are known as pheromones, a scent, and they are traveling in the air, and there is a male moth which is attracted to that scent and it will go towards the female. Just by going, tracking that smell, it will go towards the female. And it is, the antenna it has so many of these feathery hairs that it increases the surface area to capture many, chemical or particles in the air. So that's the advantage. So again, to kind of just to give you a brief, for students in the audience, you have to look at form and function. The function is to kind of even detect the tiniest amount of chemical or the pheromone, and it has a perfect form for it. The antenna has a perfect form for it. And please interrupt me if you have any question. You can. I don't want to turn this into a kind of a class session. Again, this I'm just showing some pictures to illustrate different kinds of things that insects do. So insects can taste again food or it can, like we have tongue, insects have their tongue on their feet and also what is known as proboscis. So I told you about butterfly tongue. This is the butterfly tongue, but they can also taste with their feet. Insects can taste with their feet. So before they put stuff in their mouth, you better taste what you are putting things in your mouth, right? So they land on a flower or a leaf or something, and they can actually taste what it is, what is the flower I'm going to take nectar from, or what is the leaf where I'm going to lay eggs on. So they can basically taste. Same with flies, they can taste. Have you seen flies on a coffee table? They'll be going from one place to another. They're actually tasting. They're walking around, but they're also tasting little things which are stuck on a table or things like that. So they have receptors on their feet through which they can taste. So I'm trying to kind of tell you various examples through which to say that insects are not very, they are tiny, but they have all the sensory senses like us. They can see, they can smell, they can taste. Some of them can sing, right? Like they can produce sound. I shouldn't say they can sing. They can produce sound for the opposite sex, where the opposite sex is attracted. So they can do a lot of things which even though they are very tiny, they can do a lot of things. This is a brain of a fly. So the colored part here. So this, okay, I should say that this is the head of a fly. Okay, and the colored region is particularly the brain. So insects have brain. Insects can. So that's first thing before I say brain of a fly. Insects have brain. So that means that like us, imagine a tiny, the size of a brain might be tip of a toothpick. That's the size of a brain, insect's brain. But in that brain, they have a center for visual. So just like our eyes help our brain to kind of code information, the red part is for visual information. Then there is some place to store memory. Insects can also remember. Otherwise, how will they go to the same place to find nectar, or same place to find food, right? So insects can remember what they have seen or what they have learned. So for all living things, they'll have some kind of memory to go towards or away from food or danger or whatever it is. Okay, so I just wanted to show you, I mean, these are, I don't want to go into details, but insects have brain is the main message I want to tell you about this. Are we good so far? Should I? Tell me if it is like getting boring or whether. Yeah. No, they are just cleaning their legs also, because legs have all the taste receptors, right? They'll rub their legs, they will also rub their antenna. They'll clean all the parts. They want to keep everything very clean. Yeah, they're doing that.
Mosquitoes keep making sound, like basically they get killed because of it, right?
Yeah, if they didn't make sound, then we wouldn't have detected them so easily. So one is their wing beat frequency, they produce sound, but they also produce sound for mating. Yeah, and mosquitoes bite a lot of other mammals or birds and things also. We'll come to, maybe we can talk about mosquitoes a bit later. So, okay, I'm moving on to what insects have done, which we also have some kind of, we have farming, but this is an example of a story. This is a story where these are leaf cutter ants found in South America. So they cut leaves, like small leaves from various trees, and they take it to their underground nests. They don't eat the leaves directly, but they put the leaves, this white substance is fungus. So leaves are for the fungus to kind of grow on. Fungus will kind of, it's almost like with their fungal enzymes, they cut or they process the leaf, and that is what the ants survive on. So now this has been going on for a lot of time, millions of years, and this is kind of is similar to farming. So why, I'll tell you why. So they clear, the leaf cutter ants, they kind of clear an area and they select certain, it's almost like they will select these leaves, and the fungus is also very specific. They don't allow other fungus or other kinds of pathogens to grow. They will de-weed or they'll remove other fungus. So it's very specific, and they will grow the fungus. Just like we grow certain crops and we de-weed the area and we maintain the whole area, these ants are also doing that. So, at least in the scientific community, this has been kind of, it's an example that look, ants are doing something like farming like way earlier, and humans have been, agriculture or cultivation came about around 10,000 or 12,000 years ago, but this has been going on for a really long time. So, I hope people got the analogy that just like we clear the land and we mechanically plant plants and grow them, without leafcutter ants these fungus don't survive, right, and these fungus need the leafcutter ants and leafcutter ants need the fungus, and lot of crops which we grow, it's wild varieties would have grown, but the current ones whatever we are cultivating, they need some processing with the help of human beings. So, that is one example I thought would be interesting. So, this is actually a wasp, the yellow colored, this is a wasp. Wasp is, if you haven't, what do you call in Kannada and Kannaja? Kannaja, no, probably, huh? Kannaja. Kannada it's called Kannaja. I don't know in other languages what it is called, but this particular wasp hunts bees. So, that is why it is known as bee wolf. Okay. It is, it's not very rare, it's quite, Shyamal, do you think they would have seen, people would have seen? Hornet is more common, yeah. Yeah. So, anyway, these hunt bees. So, you might think bees are dangerous, but these are, these are, they themselves hunt bees. So, what they do is they will dig a nest underground. So, they will dig a mud nest and they will go and hunt bees, paralyze them. They will inject a little venom into the bees so that they are paralyzed and put the bees inside the nest and lay an egg on the bee. So, that wasp egg will grow into a baby wasp feeding on the bee, and then it will turn into an adult wasp and come out. Okay. So, this is a long process, okay, and there are all kinds of pathogens inside on the earth, right, all kinds of microbes, fungus. So, what this wasp has in its antenna, it has a bunch of bacteria, so streptomyces, where, so it rubs the nest with this particular bacteria which has antimicrobial properties. So, it keeps the nest away from fungus or other pathogens, and then antimicrobial and antifungal also I should say, it is a cocktail of antibiotics. And then once the larvae is growing and once its cocoon is formed, the larvae also, so I am talking about egg, larva, pupa. You would have all studied this, right, in egg, larva, pupa, adult. That is the kind of growth, that is how insects grow. So, once the baby wasp is growing, before it turns into an adult, it rubs this antibiotic on its cocoon also, and so that it's keeping all the pathogens away basically. So, it is almost like prophylactic medicine. We take, say for example, if we are taking some kind of a Ayurvedic churna or something else, right, or even before you fall sick, you take medicine, that is a different thing. But if you are taking something in order to prevent any kind of diseases or any kind of sickness, that is prophylaxis, and this is what the wasp is doing. So, it is a combination of antibiotics which it is applying on the nest and on the cocoon, so that it keeps all the pathogens away. And this is, it's so fascinating that the researchers who have worked on this, they have looked at 30 different wasps, different varieties all over the world, and the antibiotic cocktail is specific to that locality pathogen, that's pathogens in that area. So, it has evolved very, very specifically, and it has not gotten resistant. It's not, it doesn't overuse that antibiotic. So that it's been going on for a long time. I mean, if we take antibiotics, I mean, in India, antibiotic resistance is rampant. So that's something to think about. How do I mean, insects are also using antibiotics, but they are not yet resistant towards it. Yeah.
The bee is almost as big as the bat.
Yes.
So even in terms of mass, do they have similar? May not be same.
Even in terms of?
Mass.
Huh.
So are they similar in?
Wasp is, I mean, it's difficult for it to fly with the bee. Sometimes it's slightly smaller, but sometimes it's equal size. It won't.
We are not able to carry someone of our
Yeah. Sometimes it flies. It does fly. If it's too heavy, sometimes it walks, or if it's too heavy, it drops it. I have not seen these that much, but I have worked on wasps which take spiders, similar wasps, or I mean, similar mechanism. And if it's too heavy, it will just drop it sometimes and collect a different spider or whatever. But yes, it will fly low, or it will walk sometime, those kinds of things. Yeah. Okay, I'll show you some video now. So this is about insect communication. So like us, I'm communicating mostly in English. All of you are like nodding your head, or like listening, or there's some kind of a non-verbal communication through which I'm getting that, okay, you're following me, you're understanding me. So like humans, insects also communicate with other insects and other fellow members of their own society. What do they communicate?
Food source.
So like us, okay, here in this supermarket there is some good new brand which has come up, or in this you have to take a U-turn to go to some place. All this information, like we communicate to others, insects also communicate where to go to find food, or danger, or maybe to attract mates. Look, hi, I'm here, and that kind of information. So I'm going to show, this one is about spider dance. This is a spider which is found in Australia. This is known as peacock spider. I'm showing this because I mean, we don't have such great videos, but I also work on these kind of similar spiders in the lab, and we make similar videos, and we try to see how male spiders entice female spiders. So males, in spider world, males are the ones who dance. I shouldn't say all spiders don't dance. Here in this particular species of spider, these are jumping spiders, and they have some very, very pretty dance to attract a female. And I'll show you the video. This is particularly for the Australian spider.
This male peacock spider is the size of great rice.
It's little. So another male came, and this female ate up that male. So basically the male is dancing to attract the female, but another male comes, and the female the male becomes meal, another male basically. And then this male succeeds to entice the female, and it mates with her. That's the thing. But of course, if you get a chance, go back and see on YouTube. Just Google, it's a peacock spider dance. BBC has, this is BBC clip, but there are a lot of other clips. So what I'm saying is they communicate through color and dance and vibration and movement and whatnot, right? So, so a lot of information is perceived by the female, and she almost judges or across different males. She might actually see multiple male dances before deciding on whom to mate. I won't say this is a unique case. In a lot of insects and spiders, these kinds of things happen. So in crickets, males sing. Crickets are this myrte, which you will see at night. So males sing to attract females, and females might actually reject several males before choosing one particular male. So we'll come back to some questions based on about this, but let's see another form of communication. This many of you might know. This is bees conveys certain information about where the food is through their dance, through a waggle dance. This is better actually. So to summarize that, I mean most of you know, but they do a waggle dance, so like a dance of 8, almost like this. They keep doing this on the hive, and the fellow honeybees get 2 messages. Where is the source? So how far is it, and what is the direction in which they have to go? So they have, I mean we think that okay, we are really good at with so many languages, speaking about so many things, but they get the job done. What do they need? They need food for their growing larvae, right? And they can communicate danger, they can communicate where the food is, and the fellow honeybee workers can make out what that bee is communicating. So that's enough, and they get the job done with this kind of communication. So it's just that we are limited. We didn't. Many animals or all animals and even plants communicate, but humans are just figuring it out now that how they communicate. It's our limitation that we don't know much about the living organisms. It's not that others, they don't communicate. Most living organisms communicate information. Okay, quickly, why should we care about insects? Insects form this in terms of biomass and also diversity. They are the most diverse group of organisms, and they help in, they are food for a lot of birds, geckos, human beings. A lot of humans also eat insects. I'll come to that. Yeah, do you want to eat insect? Cricket chips, do you want to eat? No? Okay. Importantly, 75%, around 75% of our food crops comes because of pollination. So it's extremely, extremely important that we preserve not just honeybees, but all insects. They are biocontrol agents. That means that they kill other insects which are like caterpillars or aphids, which are harming our crops. So they act as biocontrol agents. If these are dung beetles, and if these were not around, there will be heaps of dung accumulated all over. So dung or even rotting carcasses. There are a lot of different kinds of insects which act as decomposers and clear up or help to enhance whatever is decomposing, whatever is dead and decomposing. So they act as recyclers as well. Insects are also important because they are very proteinaceous. So this is a company which sells cricket flour. So you can actually buy cricket flour to make your chapatis. So this is not something which I am generally talking about, not theory, but in practice you can buy. So if you want to produce, if you want to maintain husbandry like, for dairy or for your pork or chicken or even peas, this is the amount of water which is required to have various kinds of livestock and also even agricultural produce, whereas growing insects need only 1 gallon. So water required to grow 1 pound of protein, this is how they have calculated it. But so what they are trying to say is growing insects or maintaining insects is very, very easy when compared to all these others. So insect is projected as next superfood, and maybe it's not far away, the future is not far away where we do start consuming insects. I am a vegetarian, I am not proposing that we all should eat insects, but it's possible that we might have to eat insects. So it is good for, it's nutritional, so it has a lot of proteins, it's environmentally friendly and cheaper to raise. So maybe this is a European company actually. So of course they are promoting, this is a company website, I am just projecting this here, but there are also papers which says that this is the way to go. So this is just to say that to an equivalent quantity, this is it's better than 2x times that of protein of beef. It has more iron than 15% more iron than spinach, so like that. So insect is really much better than any of these other products. And this is from a website, this is from the same website which sells grasshopper insect powder. Right, this was few years old, but that's the price, and you can buy wholesale, you can buy that kind of a powder and make, bhaji out of it or whatever, right. So you can actually go and buy from this. This is an actual website which is selling ground up insect powders. So eating insects is not very strange. We don't do it, but the people in, China, okay, but even in India, so you might have heard of these red ants, where they are little pungent or kind of bitter tasting, so that you can make chutney out of it with lot of red ant, and people have eaten. That's fairly common, which people have heard, but there are lot of other insects which people can eat. Insects are disappearing. I just like this picture, so I have put this up, but basically they are disappearing for reasons which we all know. For a lot of humans are the primary reason why insects are disappearing, and human activities, I would say. So it's at least little bit of awareness about, okay, we are making a mess out of the whole world is important to kind of, and insects are important, so this is a message. Okay, quickly I am going to end with this, with few products which are inspired by insects. Okay, can you tell what is the connection with, with insect and Starbucks, strawberry smoothie, or what is any connection with any of these three? Okay, So there is this insect called known as cochineal bug. This is the insect. So if you crush it, you get this pink color. So this is a 18th century, not Indian, meaning not here. So these bugs are grown on. They are found on cactus plants, and so people used to basically this is a, I think this is a I think Spanish first discovered this, and it was used by Mexicans to make this red dye, and British Army, this is British Army Army in some war, but the coat color is made by that red color. Coat color comes from cochineal bug. It's that red, and Starbucks was also using, this was before it was banned, it was using for strawberry smoothie, it was using that color to give that pink color. These are cells, the dye for the cell also comes from earlier, the pink color also was from this cochineal bug. Okay, and these are some insect, dragonfly and horsefly eyes. It has fantastic vision. These are several small eyes. We have simple eyes. Insects have what is known as compound eyes, and these are known as what is known as ommatidia. Several facets. Each of them will have a lens, and they'll see the world almost 360 degrees for dragonfly. There are 30,000 facets or ommatidia if you think about dragonfly, and they can see UV, they can see visible light, and also polarized light. So we can't even understand what we are saying because we can only see in the visible spectrum, but these insects can see in the ultraviolet. Also they have a polarized, cameras come with this polarized filter kind of a thing, right? So they can, cooling glasses have, yeah. So inspired by insect eyes, there are these new cameras which have several small lenses and a large field of view, and also depth of field is very good, and which can be used for drones as well as endoscopy. So people are using these kinds of, by looking at and getting inspired by insect eyes, they have come up with these kinds of new technology and in cameras. My last example would be of these three insects. So springtails are tiny insects which are in the mud. They have several tiny hairs which have wax coating on it. So they keep water away. So they are hydrophobic texture, and tiger beetles and morpho butterfly or any other butterfly, many butterflies have to produce color, such brilliant colors, they use what is known as structural colors. So they don't use chemicals or dyes or whatever. Just by layering their, you can say exoskeleton, but layering chitin layers. So they have there are several layers of skin. Just by layering and how the sun reflects, light reflects through those layers, these colors are produced, and those are known as structural colors. They are not from chemicals, that's what so the clothes which we wear, all the different colored clothes which we wear comes from either dyeing the thread, right? We use lot of chemicals, lot of water and heavy, maybe lot of heat for the process of dyeing different colors, and most of it is not recyclable. So people are now making fabric. So Amphico is a company which is producing waterproof and different colored fabric for underwater divers and also this is people, mountaineers, inspired by these 3 insects. So, their waterproofing thing comes from that spring-tailed wax hair kind of a mechanism. I am not saying that they are using insects, they are saying okay, the technology is inspired by insects. So, waterproof material, maybe they were using plastic earlier, but they are using a different, is created by texture and maybe some wax kind of a thing. And color comes from structural color, so they do not use dyes at all. Just by changing the way the threads are woven and how it is reflected, they are getting different colors. So, these are all some of the examples which are inspired by insects. We can have some discussion if there are questions or I would like to thank APU. Yeah, thank you.